Everyone. We are Team COVID-19 Relief. This is Kate, Brett, I'm Danielle, Bryce, and Rithvik. Today we're going to be talking about the COVID-19 Tracker Vaccination app. Here is what we're going to be talking about today. Our project description, the MOV, and a lot of other things including the communication plan and scope analysis. First, I'm going to talk about a little bit about background. COVID-19 is an infectious disease with symptoms including fever, dry cough, and shortness of breath. It was declared a global pandemic in March of 2020. Individuals with underlying conditions as well as adults are more susceptible to COVID-19. Currently, the vaccine is available to all adults over the age of 16, and Georgia Tech has no easy way of tracking the number of vaccines that have been given to students or the number of vaccines in general. Our project is to provide accurate information and relevant vaccine data to the Georgia Tech community. It is going to be to produce an app to deal with COVID-19 related problems, and it will develop a more efficient system for making vaccination appointments, allow for an easier way to administer vaccines, improve the administration process of COVID-19 information, and provide the community with updated information about COVID-19 data. The goal of this project is to keep the Georgia Tech community informed about any updates related to COVID-19, as well as track the distribution of vaccines throughout the community. The success for this project will be measured by the participation of the student body as well as their reviews. The goal is to have 3,000 students view the app by the end of 2021 and have an overall rating of 4.5 stars. The app should be able to provide updates on open vaccine appointments within 5 minutes of a slot opening up. Our proposed recommendation is to create an app. All students will have access through their wireless device, whether that be their phone, tablet, or computer. Through this app, students can find testing site locations, the current number of COVID-19 cases on the Georgia Tech campus, contact tracing data, as well as vaccine appointment information. Here are some key stakeholders. The STAMPS COVID-19 relief team. They're the ones responsible for the main content and signing off on the information posted on the app. These are our subject matter experts, so their feedback is very important. Another key stakeholder is the Georgia Tech president, who is the final sign-off for all information going on the app. And other key stakeholders are, well, the faculty and students, the ones using this app. Now I'm going to pass it off to Brett to talk about project scope.
Perfect. Thank you so much, Danielle. So now I'm going to dive a little bit deeper into the project scope. So what we're really going to try to do is focus on our faculty, staff, and students that are going to be on campus. We really want them to be able to see how many vaccines are available. We want to see where testing sites are available. And we also just want to update them with as much information as possible. When the vaccines become available, the project will allow users to sign up for time slots to get vaccinated at specific locations. So that's going to be inside of our scope. Switching foot, like now we're on out of scope. Since Georgia Tech is a public campus, we're sure that we're going to have a lot of people on campus that don't have GTID numbers, and so they're not registered with the school, so it's going to be almost impossible to track those people. So we're keeping them away from our project. In addition, those who choose not to participate in the vaccination, they will not be tracked through the app. Like I said, it's not mandatory, so same with this application, it will not be required for any faculty, students, or staff. So now getting into our project schedule. So I'm going to highlight some of the big and major points. So, building out our business case starting at the beginning of February. We wrote out some of our requirements looking at the end of March, heading into April. Meeting with those app developers and planning out the system because, like we said, we're making an application, so that's going to be one of the most important pieces. So as you can see right here in May 18th, we're going to be designing the application, and that's one of the tasks that we have designated for the most amount of time, mainly because that's what's going to have to be tight. That's got to be the best thing, and that's going to be available for all the students, faculty, and staff. Alongside that, integrating that with the Georgia Tech STAMPS health initiative, that's going to be very major for the application success. Speaking of success, we're looking at system testing in 3 different iterations. We're doing it with our developers, STAMP Health Initiative, as well as the students, faculty, and staff. Like we mentioned in our MOV, we really wanted to get 4 out of 5 stars on our app rating. And the only way we're going to be able to do that is by extensive testing. Then we're going to take a look and try to close out our project by the beginning of August, mid-August, right before school begins and students return for the fall. So now we can take a look at our project budget. So the app development, our this is our cake right here, $200,000. The main reason why this is so expensive is because of the system integration, the data analysis features, and instantaneous updates. We want this app to almost be as smooth as possible. We want it to be seamless. So we'll throw as much money as we can to make sure that that happens. App maintenance. So we allocated some money for that because every month we're going to have more students, things are going to change, information is going to be new, and things are going to have to be updated. So we wanted to make sure that we add some costs for that. Testing and training, those are our two big T's here. We want to make sure that the people that are looking at our information are able to instantaneously update as well as understand everything that's going on. And then, of course, we have miscellaneous expenses for anything that, is unexpected throughout the project. So our estimated total cost is $258,000. And with that, I'm going to go ahead and pass it off to Ritvik to talk a little bit about risk management.
All right, thank you, Brett. So a little bit about the risk management. So we have 5 different categories that we want to discuss with risk, and they vary from a high level of risk to low level of risk. And we also have many mitigation plans. So starting off with finance, we believe this is the highest level of risk because this is where, as like Brett mentioned earlier, this is where our budget and we're actually developing the application. This is where most of our money is going to. And we believe like the best way to mitigate this is like allocate extra time for the budget and the initial development, or like slowly increase the monthly budget as we see needed to be fit. Moving on to the schedule, so this is going to be a little bit lower. It's going to have a medium risk level, and this is where the vaccines are already being distributed and the project may take weeks to get developed. So Georgia Tech may not gain as much from the application since it's kind of late, but I think we believe the way to mitigate this is to start as soon as possible. And hopefully keeping track of vaccinations will move on to like the fall of next semester, and many of those who are not on campus then will be in campus now. Moving on to like support, like bug crashes, security protocols, any issues with the application as a whole, we see this as a lower risk level just because Georgia OIT will be very trained on how to work on the system. They'll be working on it like a day-to-day basis. With the scope of the project, we see it as a little higher risk level just because the project may see many places for improvement, and that they will want to be added for transparency purposes. And we believe the way to mitigate this is through add some features that would be useful so developers have more time. The last one would be personnel. So if workers don't keep track of the vaccine through the system, it could cause a lot of backup and maybe wasted vaccines. But we believe like the best way to mitigate this is through a checks and balances system put in place so that there's always more than one person inputting and checking vaccine totals so we wouldn't get lost with that. And with that, I want to pass it on to Bryce.
Perfect. So here is our stakeholder analysis where we identify key stakeholders with their interest and influence levels along with other metrics for the project. For our stakeholders column, we identified the STAMPS employees along with students and even IT employees who will help develop the app. For the interest levels, for our stakeholders, most of them had medium to high interest levels, and then for our influence column, it mirrors the interest column, but the students have a low influence on the project. For the objectives, the STAMPS employees, their objective is to distribute vaccines and COVID-19 information, which is similar to the Georgia Tech president, and in which they will provide information to the community. For the students and faculty, they want to view updates easily, and then the IT employees want to keep the app running and up for everyone. The strategies for everyone start off with STAMPS employees. They want to work closely for content information, which is similar to the IT employees wanting to work closely during the app development and fabrication, while the rest of the stakeholders want to email updates every week or every day, depending on their time frame. Moving on to the communication plan, we identified 4 different stakeholder groups along with their information needs. So to start off, we have our first stakeholder group, which is the sponsor or client, and their reporting requirements would be to hold in-person review meetings on a monthly basis where we discuss the project summary, budget, and earned value reports because we believe they're concerned with the overall value and budget of the project. For the PM, we would hold 2-week intervals review meetings, whether it be in person or online. We discuss the project summary, earned value reports, as well as the critical task and activities reports because we believe the PM is concerned with the operational side where strategic decisions are formed based on the project status. For the project team, we would hold in-person weekly meetings to discuss the task reports and the to-do list. And this is because we want to know who does what and what activities are due each week. And the project team's concerned with the daily tasks needed to complete the project on time. Lastly, for the users, which would be the students or faculty using the app, we'd hold 2-week review meetings, whether it be online or through the GT email, and we discuss activities reports or project summary. And this is because the users are concerned with the status of the project, just like the sponsor, and how much value it will create for them. Now I'll pass it on to Kate for the change management plan.
Thanks, Bryce. So, change. Nobody likes it. So how are we going to get the Georgia Tech community to want to embrace this app, download it, use it, get tested, get vaccinated? So there's 3 different phases to this change management plan. First of all, we want to prepare for change. We want to understand where the Georgia Tech community sits within COVID-19. How are they handling testing and vaccination distributions currently? Then we want to develop our COVID-19 tracker vaccination app and introduce it to the COVID-19 environment within Georgia Tech, specifically the STAMPS initiative, and get their buy-in, get their information, and have them want to use the app and want to get students to use the app. Finally, we want to understand how students and faculty will respond to downloading a new app by looking at past apps that Georgia Tech has made and how quickly students and faculty have downloaded those apps and started using them to see how quickly our app will get into production within the Georgia Tech community. For phase 2, we want to manage the change. We want to get the Georgia Tech students and faculty to download the app and actually start using it. This will go into our testing environment and make sure that all the information is correct, there are no bugs, and everything is running very smoothly within the app. We also want to manage the use of the app and ensure that all students and faculty are able to access the testing and vaccination capabilities within the app without issue. For phase 3, we want to solidify the change. We want to continually update the testing and vaccination data within the app for Georgia Tech until all bugs have been removed from the system, all the information is correct, and everything is completely flawless. Finally, we want to pass the data updating to the Georgia Tech COVID-19 STAMPS relief team, so they will be able to continue to use this app well after our project is closed. Now, I want to pass it to Rithvik.
All right, thank you, Kate. So with the project metrics and tracking, so we have 5 different aspects that we want to discuss. The first one would be the weekly check-in. So in order to make sure all members of the team are on track with their assigned tasks and the project is sticking to the project schedule and can be revised if needed. Moving on to track ongoing process, this would be where we would check data feedback from the application and check the number of vaccine signups along with the number of doses administered, number of appointments missed, and many other things and such like that. Moving on with measurable objectives, so we would also try to check the measurable objectives set prior to the launch of the application, and some examples of this may include like a 30% increase in the amount of vaccinations on campus through a new scheduling system, or maybe by July 30th, 80% of the people on campus will at least have the first dose of the vaccine. We want to make sure we check these objectives like throughout the scope of the project. Moving on with the budget, so we want to maintain and check the goals of the budget and make sure that the budget has been maintained throughout the duration of the project, and we also make sure that it would need to be revised and edited by a need-to-need basis. Lastly, we also want to check the scope of the project and make sure all the aspects of the project are within the scope of a vaccine application, and we want to make sure we check this on a week-by-week basis also. And with that, I want to pass it back to Kate for the quality management plan.
Okay, quality. We want our app to be as accurate as absolutely possible. First of all, we want to have all students and faculty by phase 3 of our communication plan have downloaded the app. So that way they can have full access to the app and its capabilities and be tested and tracked as accurately as possible. Also, we want to update the information. We want to have the vaccine and testing information updated daily and have at least a week of time slots for testing and vaccinations available for all students and faculty. Also, we want our information to be accurate. Obviously, we want 100%, but there's going to be human error, so we're aiming for 99% of all information to be completely accurate. We also want the availability of testing to be within 5 minutes of people walking into a testing center. Also, we want our vaccinations, we want 80% of students and faculty to be able to register for vaccinations within a day of getting the vaccination. And with that, we'd like to thank you for listening to our project proposal. We are the COVID-19 relief team.